Yes, we're all. We'll call the meeting to order with everyone present. First item on this morning's agenda, Aaron Schluter, Calmar Rd.
Hello, everybody.
Morning.
Kind of a habitual attendant here,
You're always welcome.
trying to keep it on the plate or the table to have you folks not forget about the Middle Calmar Road.
It was just brought up, Mike had it here a little while ago about.
Is
And
this
then,
Mike?
Nice
Nice to meet you. So it just seems like it's not a happy road to be on. Everybody that comes to visit, they always say how poor it is. It's the worst road in the state of Iowa. So they're.
About any road, have they been on all roads?
Right, well, I'm gonna say this too. You go to a lot of counties around Winneshiek County and their secondary roads are a whole lot better than our roads.
I disagree.
We're not disagreeing. So therefore, let's be active people.
I will tell you that our 6 county meetings, all 6 engineers say we hear the same thing from our constituents all the time, that their roads are the worst in the county. So to be fair, all counties are struggling with budgets and the way to cover these roads. There's always so much money in the pot.
But there's gotta be a way to find something, what I'm trying to say. You gotta remember too, the Middle Calmar Road has the curves with no guardrails, some steep ditches. You've got going north to, on Locust Road, that road has been obviously redone and has all the requirements. Middle Calmar Road doesn't.
Best suggestion that I could offer for a proactive approach for Karen Schluter is to find out a way to get the federal government to take and make that road eligible for federal funds so that we can have the monies to be able to fix it.
So what's that?
How do you do that? I don't know. I think I have to pass that off to our county engineer right behind you.
Oh,
Set up.
thanks to you, Michael.
Sorry, Mike.
All right. Just on the Middle Calmar thing, yes, we tried to push that the fiscal year 2028 as a 2028 project. To Steve's point, it's not eligible because it's not considered a major arterial. The other way we get funding to do Middle Calmar would be to do the farm to market funding. Our farm to market funding is spent on the W14 project. That W14 project, if you think that Middle Calmar is bad,
I know.
just disagree with me on this. We might have a difference of opinion, but W14 is worse. And the other thing about the Middle Calmar project that's a little bit hard as a entity is, yes, it's bad, but it's not getting worse. We have other aspects because it's concrete, and concrete is oftentimes resilient. In this case, it's not getting a whole lot worse. So we have some asphalt jobs that are opening up that we will get bad. I'll call it sooner rather than later. So it's the trajectory of the road as well, and that's another reason that W42 is also very important to get done. Going forward, W42, W20, north of A18, and it's the road of the W40 are all in my crosshairs.
Can you tell me what roads those are, sir?
There, I can show you.
Caution to
W20 is here, and then W40 is right there, right off of Locust Road. Those are all roads that are as bad as Middle Calmar. The reason we would want to do Middle Calmar first is because they have higher traffic counts.
Right.
So they're all being considered,
Okay.
and
I'm gonna keep bugging you until something happens.
yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
Because he looked at Middle Calmar for the thing, but it didn't.
You didn't
Get
work
covered
with
the
federal
page, so we
funds.
went to W40. 42, because that did.
Yeah,
As far as
I mean, that's, otherwise Middle Calmar would have been.
Honestly speaking, if somebody in Washington looks and sees that the feds are paying for Highway 52, which goes basically on a map, the same place as Middle Calmar roads. The
Right.
feds are not gonna wanna pay for two roads that run
Exactly.
parallel.
The thing I have to say about that too is that
I'm not defending that.
No, no.
That's,
it
that's
does,
probably,
it does carry some bigger truck traffic.
yeah.
You know, that's what's,
That's where you can go campaign on that one, Karen. We would really appreciate the help in that region. I know our county engineer would too.
And the truck traffic on our roads is now up to 90,000 pounds. And none of our roads are built for that.
right,
So you can call the state legislature.
I have.
I'll go with you, Karen. Yeah.
Thank you, dear.
I got a point. That road, I live on that road. It was built in 1969. It's a damn good road. It was sliced every 20 feet instead of every 8 or 10. When they cut it, you drive that road. It's got very few cracks in where the road was maintained on a good soil. And today they cut the Locust Road every 8 feet. So if you got a 4-door Ford truck and all the way to Minnesota,
Exactly.
that road does not do that. I drive that road all the time. There's 13 bumps on that road between the railroad track and right of way. Every year you get a new bump. You never fix the old bump. So last year you were 12 bumps behind. This year you're 13 bumps behind. Next year you're gonna be 14 bumps behind. Why don't we have somebody fix 1989 bumps? We have 50 people on the county working on maintainers trucks, gravel trucks. Do we have a bump crew? Why don't we fix? I think I could find somebody to fix a bump. One bump.
Michael, he's brought that up to us. He's
Um,
to get a.
to your point, I'm actively looking at, equipment to operate, do that, more readily, to work with, our own patching crew instead of, there's only so much time that we can assign crew members. One of the things I'm looking at and seeing is whether or not we get another Durapatcher and assign our crew to, fix our paved roads at a higher rate. That's not an easy decision. It's a lot of capital cost. I'm also looking at just operations on what it is we have and maximizing the use of what we have. This is all stuff that's come up. It's come to my desk, I would say in the last month. A lot of things have come to my desk, so I haven't spent enough time on it yet to give you a good answer. And I don't know about the 1 bumps per year per se, but I think I know the direction you're going with that.
They're all due to culverts or cattle gases or such.
Yeah.
But it can be fixed. About 5 years ago, the county hired Skyline to fix the bumps. Skyline came out, tore the bad bump out, took 1 bump out, put in 2 new ones.
Yeah.
It was the worst job I ever seen. I don't know how that got qualified to be paid for. They took out 1 bump in the middle and put 2 on both sides.
Right by two.
So another thing about the Durapatcher is it may not remove the bump completely. It's just you're filling in and preventing the bump from getting bigger. That's just, you can't, without, what you're talking about is coring out a section of pavement, and that's a hard thing to do. I'm not apologizing for Skyline or anything else, but the issue there is you can't pour concrete and have the way you pour it be how it's finished, because concrete shrinks. You have to, you're doing your best guess when you're doing that work.
So if you go out and look at it, when they screeded it off, they didn't screed it off with the traffic. They screeded it the other way. So instead of screeding it across the lane, they did it this way. So you don't pour cement like that in anybody's yard, anywhere, and you can't, does not pass, that will never pass. The people will not pay for it. And that got paid for. It was not.
We can't change what,
You
you can't change what's been done, whether it's right
Yeah,
or
that
wrong.
would've been-
It was just a bad deal. We paid for that and it was not a good deal.
I'll agree with you.
And then if you're-
It probably wasn't the correct way to be
And if
done.
you're hooked up, and I'm not a big time trucker by no means, but there is times when I have a truck and a fifth wheel trailer hooked up to my truck with something in it or the skid loader. And you go up that hill by Tinty's, that big hill, you know where he lives?
I know where, yeah.
You keep going south, you go up the big hill, Tinty Hill or whatever, and you're just like riding a Bunkin Bronco. It's
You
like
can't
boom.
even compare that to a farm tractor. Farm tractor
No,
is so far beyond that, you can't even believe it.
and I'm just a common person. I don't drive hard. I don't think, but just saying, it's just rougher than rough. And I've even found going home, I'll get off of the lane I'm supposed to be in and I'm going the left lane, the wrong lane, and it's a whole lot smoother. There you go, buddy. End of story.
I did that on the way to Decorah on W-42.
Sure.
and searched the
Should have the
spot.
county sheriff here
But
for this.
That's fine. That's fine. But it's that bad. I go in the wrong lane. It's that bad.
Well, I think we all know where we're at on that.
Yep.
I think there's racing in your family,
We all
Karen.
say that
What's that?
I think there's racing in your family, Karen.
the road is
I think it's
unrealistic
not fair,
project.
it's not fair that people in auction that come to Decorah to buy their groceries, that have to, there's no grocery stores anywhere but Decorah now. You got Highlandville, Polesville, Frankville, all these people want to come to Decorah to buy their groceries, spend their money, and the people of Decorah get money for there. So care if you don't come to Decorah. I don't see the welcoming roads
Yeah.
to Decorah.
My brother-in-law from Algona comes by and he goes, I'm on the worst road in the state of Iowa. He always says that about the Middle Calmar Road.
There's a few more, I agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep,
Nope.
thank you.
I think keep coming back until you guys do something, do your job.
We're trying, find the money, let me know.
And
We got you. We got them.
Michael County. Road update.
All right, so real quickly, always welcome to people coming in and providing that. I am very aware of Middle Calmar Road. Thank you for conveying that. I was very aware of it. We started on the annual report this week. Bridge 5 demolition is complete. We starting piling and abutments. Frankville Road, culverts 1, 2, 3, and perhaps 5 now are finished. So backfill culvert 5 the rest of the day
Can
today.
you get to the landfill from Highway 9 now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I took the detour, a detour.
Okay, so you know, from Highway 9, you can get to the, straight to the landfill. And that should be the case for the rest of the duration of the project. Still, summer interns are doing odds and ends survey work. W42 is their primary efforts. W14 ditch projects are ongoing. The soil borrow operations have started in earnest. K construction, I said last week they would start last week, but weather and everything else, they're starting today. Extending culverts. And still getting complaints due to weather. Our rock roads are this was the decision I made earlier in the year, was to rock the roads at a lower rate for budgetary reasons. Unfortunately, we have a wet year, so it's lots of complaints that way. Staff continuing to streamline and fine tune our parts inventory management. We have a new head at our shop. We're doing new things there. Looking for a third member to the maintenance shop. Opening will be public until Friday of this week. We have a couple of applicants now. Speed study for Middle Hesper is ongoing. We rented equipment from LTAP for free. Subdivision data is being gathered. A cost study will be forthcoming. Working with we work with IT and our phone carriers for our crew. We get looking at whether or not to use Verizon or US Cellular, and working that out right now as to what's the best method. One's cheaper, one's better. Canoe Ridge Odyssey project pre-con meeting will be July 24th. The Farner is expected to start on August 12th. At least that's preliminarily what we've discussed. To the point of the dirt patch I was talking about, Winneshiek County provided a demonstration of the dirt patch at Fillmore County on Thursday. Fillmore County is looking to do similar things as Winneshiek County is with this piece of equipment. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it as I had attended a mid-year County Engineers Association conference and golf outing on Wednesday, Thursday of this week. Then there was, last week I got handed a large project to permit for the cable, this federally funded cable operation for Harmony Telephone Company. And that permit got reviewed and sent back to Harmony Telephone Company. So that was a significant amount of time spent on that.
That was okay.
It was okay, yeah. So the plans were very well done, and the conversations over the phone we had were very straightforward. So that is my report for this week. Are there any issues from the board that you would like me to take?
Well, I guess we kind of went over this morning. I called Mike with some concerns on 155th on the dust control, and he was looking into it. There's maybe a couple options, but
Yes.
It's gonna rain today, so you'll be okay.
well, that's what I told Mike. I said, luckily it rains every other day, so we
Yeah.
dust control on this one. but-
Throwing dust control on rain is not a good idea. I don't want to waste dust control. So
There's just a small road there that's 140th, and the people are coming down to the site where the bridge is closed, and then they turn on that road. And they're on with semis and everything else too, and that's kind of a dangerous situation, so he's looking into it and we'll figure something out.
There was that bridge up that was sitting on the middle, I suppose, up by Locust, that we were gonna pay half of. Signal was one of them. Is that,
that's Middle Hesper.
Yeah.
That bridge has been taken down. It was taken down, I think, 3 weeks ago now. The issue outstanding on that was payment by the involved parties. So I think that is cleared up. So
You had FEMA listed in here, what?
yeah,
they
I
have to
rushed past that due to wet weather. Basically the June 21st was the beginning of what they call an event. FEMA's called it an event. That event closed as of July 12th or Friday. Basically, we can only assign damages due to rainfall during those periods of time. So, for instance, over on Colonel Taylor Road, we had washout on a pipe and of a culvert, and by rules, we understand that we can assign that as damages to the county due to flooding or rainfall, because it washed out between June 21st and July 12th. So that's the idea here. So that is finished as of right now. It is closed, so I can't, so any,
Additional cost.
if we have to rock a road because it's wet or whatever, we can't assign it to the FEMA event.
Yeah, are we getting, the documentation issue is gonna be a big issue. I know EMA's got a meeting this Wednesday. And I
Who's
had
got a meeting?
emergency management.
Okay.
And I know I had a conversation with Senator Clemish, who's had a lot of experience with FEMA. And he was expressing some concern that documentation was an extremely important thing on our end before, during, and after. Make sure that we really have our ducks lined up. So I don't know if that's indication that somebody's really looking or what, but we want to carry.
Based on the conversations, I talked a little bit about this at the golf tournament. And I've spoken with staff about this as well. Basically, the federal government will require you to have a before, after the event happened, and an after shot for photos, and the photo, then it has to be a location, and then you have to assign time spent on each of these pieces of equipment. We have not yet gone through all of our timesheets to assign an exact amount of time to each of these things. Some of my time working on this FEMA stuff will also be assigned to the FEMA efforts, and that will have to be documented appropriately as well. So again, this is my first time through a FEMA event, so it'll be a little bit, I can't tell you exactly everything that's going to be submitted to FEMA, but it is.
Beth has done it many times, and she's an expert.
Yes.
In the county.
She is.
Yes, she's been, she gets requests for other counties as her, expertise, if you will. And then Sean has been through this quite often, and then other county engineers that I've talked to again were saying it's sometimes very detailed, but eventually you work something. Things tend to work themselves out. They'll either say yes or no, and that'll be your final answer. Anywhere from 50 to 85% of the funds that we claim are usually funds that we get from the government, is what other counties have told me. So just because we claim it doesn't mean we will get it.
Yeah, 85% of the proof claims, 75% is federal FEMA, and 10% is state FEMA.
So that, and you're speaking of something I
That's
didn't know about, but so 50 to 85% sounds about right then.
Good to know, because that's what, we don't want disinformation, so.
Yeah,
wanna get it out there so people understand.
as far as the reporting on that, we're doing the normal, try to tell the crew in the morning, hey, keep taking pictures. The pictures are GPS located, so that way we can, for the administrative portion of this, be as efficient as possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the roads?
Are you short on employees to the point where can't get enough done? I mean, do you have enough operators, graders out there, truck drivers, end loader operators, skid loader operators, weed control? Do you have enough employees to do a good job for Winneshiek County?
To your point, this is my first year, operating as engineer there. It is apparent to me that our our crew are busy at all times. I'm looking at ways to optimize their use of time. So are we short on time? The easy answer would be yes, but there's only so much funds that we have. So, yeah. I can't give you a definitive answer on that as this is my first year.
So it's hard, you think about 49 people going to work on Monday morning. And it's a big county. There's lots of roads. I understand that. And so does somebody know what everybody's gonna take off and do on Monday morning without having, when you have this large
We have
business? One person that tells every office what's gonna happen in their county, in their territory that morning?
the way our structure is our county office, the engineer's office in the courthouse has a spreadsheet, and everybody has the time that they have requested off, all put in that spreadsheet. Oftentimes we know, on that Monday morning, who's gonna be off and on the whole rest of the week and even into the week before.
Okay.
Especially if our crew is good about letting us know when they need off. Which is, they do a reasonable job on that. So we know who we have. Our supervisor works closely with our foreman to know what it is that everybody's going to be doing every day. That is not something I know specifically. That is my supervisor. And they are always busy. So there's, as to my knowledge, there's no one that is got anything where they're waiting around for something to do. So.
And on that note, one of the things is when you're going into the spring and summer, usually all the employees have their comp time maxed out from the overtime that they put in the winter. So then they start using that once the weather gets a little nicer. So then you're lacking a little bit of help because of that, but it's time owed to them, so they deserve it.
Yeah, so it's one of the benefits of working for the county is you have a lot of flexibility, and a lot of the flexibility is taken up in the summer. You go on vacations and everything else. So you're always working in the summer at lower manpower working rate. It's not it's not that they're just getting the benefits that we've provided them, and they take it in the summer, which is, we kind of do the best we can with that.
So the payroll's actually too short to take care of the county roads, you're saying, because the people are on vacation.
To provide the level of service that it seems that you want, I would say yes. To provide a level of service that is affordable to taxpayers, we're doing the best we can. So that's where you want more service, we need more taxes. We want more taxes, then you have to vote to agree to do that. And it's not just you, it's, in this case, it's everybody in the state of Iowa. This is a statewide issue, not just a county issue in terms of taxes.
And on top of that, the road department is funded 100%.
Yes.
We're allowed by state law to fund them.
And this Winneshiek County Board is one of the most generous, or if not the most generous, as far as I can tell, we're talking to everybody is in the state. So
it's a tough county, it's a hilly county, it's a tough county.
yeah, Hilly County, lots of bridges. We spend a lot more on bridges than most counties. So.
Then to clarify, think of it this way, in the wintertime when crews are working overtime for for snow and major weather condition issues, that comp, rather than paying overtime, that's comp time that they accrue, which we have to pay them back for, when we get into the time when they can take it. So that's part of the issue. And we do have the most number of bridges in the state, and we've got 300 miles of pavement and 800 miles of gravel to take care of in his department.
That's why I said, do you have enough, maybe you should try to fund more if you're short of people.
We can't fund anymore.
We put
We're maxed out.
every dollar into it, the maximum that the state will allow us to put in there.
If you get more people, then you have less money to
So put toward the road.
put towards the maintenance, so.
It's less mass that you can actually put into,
Yeah.
less asphalt, less concrete, less steel, less salt.
That's rock.
It's an unfortunate situation.
Because that X many dollars comes out of the rural taxpayer dollar, and X many dollars, small amount out of the general.
If you could help us find a way to get the state surplus back into the county's hands, that would be really helpful.
They can help, I'd be right at it if I could, I guarantee you.
All right.
Again, use your voices and contact state legislators who make these decisions for the counties.
Anyone have anything else for Michael?
What was your
Thank
score?
you.
It's good said.
What was your score?
I don't know,
No good.
well, it's best ball,
I'll go there.
and I was in contention for most lost balls. So I don't know what my score was, but
Way to go, Mike.
yeah, it was. I had not tried that before, that course. It was hilly,
Humbly,
interesting
humbly.
course. 18 holes. I'm probably 12 lost balls. I have a nice slice, and it was a technical course. It's a hard course. So anyway,
Okay,
yeah.
thanks, Mike. Yep. Next on the agenda, a few miscellaneous items, first of which is a letter of support for the Dry Run Trail Grant.
This is something Barb submitted. It's a grant that's due later this week. It's not a request for funding. It's just a request for a letter of support to submit with their grant application.
Want to read it out loud?
The Winneshiek County Board of Supervisors is pleased to endorse the Winneshiek County Conservation Board's grant proposal to the U.S. Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration's Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program grant. Their proposed trail will improve our road and highway safety by providing a safe commuter route and improve the health of our citizens by providing additional paved walking, hiking miles. On behalf of Winneshiek County, Dan Langworth, Chair.
Would anyone like to take action on that?
I would move to support this letter of support, our support for that grant.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second for the letter of support for the Dry Run Trail Grant. Is there any further discussion?
This is the trail we already have grant monies in hand for? Is that the section that goes from the Bridge 52 bridge on out towards the Prairie Trail?
That is the Dry Run Trail. It's from 52-9 intersection to Calmar. I don't know which section of it specifically.
This is a
Yes.
portion of that trail.
We do have a motion and a second, so I'll call it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
I
Those opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Next miscellaneous item, discuss act on compensation board.
So as you know, the legislature changed this, and as of July 1, there's no compensation board for setting elected official pay. So it's up to the Board of Supervisors whether they want to take on those duties and responsibilities themselves or reestablish the compensation board to do that. I have a resolution that would reestablish it if you so choose to do that. I used the sample resolution that ISAC provided and just filled in our county name and so on. But you can just not take action and it'll stay without the compensation board. So those are your two actions. You don't have to do it today. Our compensation board doesn't usually get organized for their meeting for the year, probably till in late October, do they set their first meeting or their timeline, but it's something that you do have to decide at some point over the next few months.
Well, and the email you sent out too, for giving us a few ideas, if we don't have a compensation board of ideas that we can put it kind of into the matrix and go from there.
I would like us to see us support keeping the compensation board. It's a way for our community to be involved. It's business people from our community assigned by each elected official to represent us. And it's a way for the community. It's a small step, but it's a step in keeping all of us accountable in our jobs and keeping our wages within market value compared to other counties in the state of Iowa. We don't always go with what they recommend because sometimes it's higher than our budget can afford, but it gives us all an idea of what is comparable to other counties our size in the state of Iowa. And I appreciate these volunteers who do this work each year with us.
If we were to keep the compensation board, do we still have to abide by the same rules that the compensation board had prior to that? Is that
Or did
a
they-
known fact? One,
I can't say for sure. I'm not familiar enough with the changes. I think that they took out the part that ties all of the recommendations together. So I think that that's no longer true, but I'm not gonna swear to that, and maybe Andy would know better, having read the law, I don't know.
I think Calmar Rd just voted. I think they put theirs back in last week.
I know it was on the agenda last week, but I didn't know what the outcome
It
was.
sounded like it was gonna be, I don't know for sure what that was. I just think it's good to have an outside opinion to do it. And like I said, you have the ability to either accept or deny what those percentages are. So I think it's just good practice to have somebody from outside in the community, like Shirley said, look at what we're doing, what we're paying.
Well, because again, we're not the CEOs of the county, we're public servants. And these are a group of professionals that look at all factors and take it all into consideration and make recommendations. I think it's a nice check each year. But I would actually move to keep the compensation board for
Yeah,
next year.
I want to see more of what the changes relate to and what Dan was talking about right there
Yeah.
myself. I don't,
Like,
if we
like
need to
Dan
make
said,
some changes, we're not ready to make any changes.
Changes, decision right now. I'd like to see what they all consisted of,
I can forward that, of the ISAC description of this, I can forward to you. and you can read through it.
Well, there is a motion on the table. You can ask for a second.
So you made a motion to adopt this, right?
I did.
Is there anyone second that?
So if we don't, we're gonna get more information. So
Yeah, that's where I stand.
That's where I stand.
I stand there.
I'm kind of on the board here. Would like to know more about if we do reinstate the compensation board, what the powers are. Like you said, do we have to reduce every one of them by the same amount, or where the law stands on that?
And we'll be finding it
And I
out.
mean, it's something we can definitely, we got plenty of time.
If the state
But
made these,
something to start bringing up to talk about before all of a sudden it's here and we're not prepared.
if the state made these changes, why did they make the changes? That's what I'd like to know.
Well, I think one of the reasons they're making the change is there's a lot of county supervisors who, the only requirement for us is to be 18 and live in our district. There are a lot of counties where there's some shenanigans going on, and sometimes the compensation board can keep us all in check as public servants. It's one piece of the whole county government system. Last year, they voted to give us a 0% raise as supervisors. They elected to give all other elected officials a very generous compensation, which we decided we can't afford that with our budget. But they did say 0% for the supervisors. And I think that's a message to us to do our job better.
Even though we hadn't taken a raise for 3 years.
That's right. Weren't you there at that meeting and made that recommendation also, Shirley?
I'm here as a public servant and I didn't even know.
You made that recommendation.
You made that
We're not
recommendation.
going there. Right now, we're just gonna discuss whether,
Our
Are we
company is
gonna
made up
table
of
this,
business
or-
officials from the whole county.
I'm going to table it till we have more information.
Right now, the motion on the table is, is lacking a second. So
yes.
That it failed for lack of
I
second.
don't
I
think
guess
lack.
I would like to see more details of it.
So
I'll get
As
some
of
more.
now, I'd be in favor of the comp board, but I'd like to
we'll
see
get more information and have a discussion. Might not be quite so cold.
I have a question, Karen. Is, if you adopted the compensation board, can you unadopt it if you want? And how long is it before you can unadopt it?
I think those are all questions that maybe we'll look into. All right, we have a couple minutes, consent agenda.
I've got the county sheriff's quarterly report in the minutes.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? None, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimous. Committee reports?
Policy board Thursday, and there's, the only thing on there, there was a $171,000 grant up for grabs and enhancement committee, which would be conservation boards. And Howard County applied for it, and it would involve the city of Maaten and city of Oliver. And it got awarded to Howard County, and one of the cities got it. So it was, they split it up between the two because there was enough money in there to fund the two of them. And we went with tax board recommendation on,
Did we apply for it?
no. Clayton County had applied for it. It was gonna do, in one of their trails, there was bridges, and the federal regulations were so, it just, it wasn't gonna work for them, so they let the grant go back. They could do it cheaper and easier without the federal fund. So they came back to us, so then we could reapply for it again. Yep.
Well, I'll go back to Winneshiek County Development Tourism. From 9/23 to 6/24, they were awarded $162,200 worth of grants. I forgot to bring this paper with last time. It's here for any of you guys that want to look it over. On Wednesday, they're going to be filming in Washington for that promotional thing. And at a later date in Spillville. We didn't know what that date is yet. That'd be in August.
they're doing a really good job covering the whole county.
Yeah, they already had told them the one in Calmar. Now the next one was in Washington. And they said that they have 150 kids enrolled now at Sunflower. The max capacity will be 245, but they didn't want to shoot up there too quick to know if they had enough help and everything else. So that's kind of the number we're at on that right now. That's what all we got on that.
I just got rural housing authority this Wednesday. And that's that for me. And I had a great time at the county fair last week. Too bad they got rain on one of the days, but I got my Learn Singers pie and Cattle Association's burger.
I got my burger.
It was fun to walk through.
I was there Monday through Saturday.
It was a good turnout fair. A lot of good conversation.
Actually, a lot better weather than usual.
It was nice and cool inside the new exhibit building.
Mhm.
I got house or EMS board meeting
Wednesday.
12:30, public health Wednesday at 3:30, and then we got to meet with on the Spectrum
Community.
On the 19th.
community building on the 19th.
I did.
And I did let Krista know that you were meeting with them before you wanted to work out on any moving public health things, so.
And I and Steve Zitter going to have to sit down yet. We just haven't come together with a time that's worked for both of us
For,
for the food pantry lease agreement.
Is there anything back on the audits yet? The energy audits?
no, I'm getting probably this week.
John had just got a bid on, putting a meter in for, he got a bid on that, but I told him just to hold on a little bit. Yeah,
$1,700 thereabouts for installing a separate
meter.
county-owned
So we
meter.
know where we're.
Yeah, I said he's about to hold off on that till we figure out what
The audits thing.
at least needs to be.
Well, until we get the audits too.
They have some grant money within, I think the food pantry, I was talking with one of the guys over there last week. Where they may be able to get some new refrigeration equipment with outside compressors, because the heat load that comes from all of that equipment inside there is a big issue.
Biggest problem, yeah.
And it's, we do have an opportunity there there's an awful lot of lighting. There's a lot of lighting in there. It's all 4-foot tubes.
Yeah.
So
I
there's,
do think that refrigeration, if you can move the compressors outside, it'd be huge. You're doing it twice.
Well, the compressor was built right in the refrigerator.
I know, but you can move it, you have standing refrigeration.
that's why you won't find
Compressor
them.
move it outside.
You won't find more than one of those in some small place, but when you've got about 15 of them inside
One
that.
and one on there.
Yeah, more than one, but when you got 15 in there, the heat load off of that is terrible.
It's good in the winter, but not in the summer.
Exactly. All right, well, the next item on the agenda is Andy Vandermountain, our county attorney. Good morning, Andy.
Morning. So what do you have for me today?
Got a quick question. What's the deadline for edits on the employee handbook update?
Mike had sent some stuff from the engineer's office, and I think Holly was gonna update it. I can check with her, see where she's at.
No, I mean, from any other employees. Because I'm still going through my submit.
Assuming we had them, but
Oh,
I think
We
it
have
was
some-
July 20 something. on
that's what I
that.
thought.
So this week, probably.
this week it is.
I'll have mine to you by Friday.
Anything back on that Jeffrey Peel?
Yeah, I had Jeff go out and check, see where the gates were, and I think we're talking about moving that 20 feet south and then taking all the riprap north of the gates out. I think we're pretty close.
They had some questions. They didn't act on the comp board resolution, whether to reestablish it or not. Because they had some questions about technical wording in the new law. Like if they reestablish the comp board, how would they, if they so choose to establish it in the future year? Or if they reestablish the comp board, do they have to, are they tied? My understanding is maybe they aren't tied together, the recommendations like they used to be. But they,
I need to go back and look at
So-
the statute.
Yeah. That was exactly what I said, that I would forward the description that ISAC provided, but it may be that you need to give some more technical opinion on it before they can take action.
ISAC stuff.
It might still be House File 2514. The number on it.
Anyone have anything else for you?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
You too.
Week.
Over.
Thank you, Todd. It's $5 for all of us. Into the coffee pot. I needed coffee.
The roof is done over here
Roof is done over there.
on the jail,
Did they
the
go on,
old jail.
checked, haven't heard no more about the community or the building, just like that, right?
I think John's had conversation with him also about the issue that Mark brought up of that flashing repair up on top of the roof up there. And I think that was it's probably in the queue for within the next week or so.
I haven't heard nothing from Chuck about.
Haven't heard any more about the leak.
Yeah, so it must be that.
Well, John did take and he removed that area agency on aging sign that was still up in front of the building on that monument sign, because we don't want that portrayed as still being their space and coming in there, people coming there by accident. So he did pull that sign and put a blank in there. We were about ready to get a notice from the city on the height of the grass over there, but it's because John's lawnmower got broke by his intern. But it's fixed now. But it's fixed now.
You know, the weird side of that building that's up on the upper level, a raised bed, that used to be all prairie plants in there, and that could eliminate some mowing. At one time, it was all planted in beautiful prairie plants, flowers and things. That would eliminate the need to mow all the time in that section. So we could look at that.
That's a John
I think
question.
I did look from the back, see if but they were in a plant. Did they ever put corn back there? No, never did.
I've never seen
She wanted to know if she could plant a row of corn for
the generators.
No, we've been on the south side.
Oh, no, I haven't seen
I
anything
guess
up
they
there
didn't
at
pay
all.
attention either. She wanted to know just
As far as I know. I know it's
For
still.
the
for the
deer.
climb. So, yeah. You thought maybe
That's who
they
wants to it.
plant a couple of years talks, and then they could go picking here. That's, yeah, if you want this. It's never to pay attention.
We're not fussing what they eat, beans,
No.
everything. Okay. Oh. All right. Does anyone have anything else for today?
Move to adjourn.
Second. We have a motion and a second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
I'll be here for a while for office hours if anybody would like to stay and visit.
Sometimes it's just easier when you got it on a piece of paper.
There were some changes in the law, the open meetings law. And so that is the wording recommended by the state and our county attorney for if the meeting, if members of the board may be attending by team versus in person. So I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, he attended by team.
Oh,
It's electronic, yes. And so the new law defines that as a hybrid meeting. Some people are in person and some are electronic. So that's why Andy just said, why don't you put that on every agenda so that if any of the members want to attend electronically, they can be members.
Yeah. Just
I wonder if you guys it was right here. Just getting older.
Yeah, for sure.
Wish more people would come. Yeah, because we work with all of them. I just thought it was a black top. I don't know if you know what Roger Bolton lives on, it's black top. It's still, you know, there's a quorum on this. As soon as he walks out.
So if you turn there by Roger Bowlerman's, between Bowlerman's and Iverson's, Pleasant View Road goes down the hill and over the brick. It's on the right.
We have a large culvert.
And it's been for years now.
It's Steve. Steve. Steve, you can take it just outside the door. I can turn the meetings off, but as long